that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello. Do you like men with no shirts on that are ripped and face things? No, do you find that kind of boring? Okay. How about another man that is basically the same, but becomes a king? No? Okay, how about a man in all black who fights demons, witches, and all manner of unseemly things that go against the word of God? Well, then you should probably read Solomon Kane. Part 1, because I'm only discussing 3 short stories in here. We have Skulls in the Stars. So let me begin with a little excerpt here. We have with a gore-covered, frightful thing that fell at Kane's feet, writhed, groveled, and raised his terrible face to the rising moon, and gibbered, and yammered, and fell down again, and died in its own blood. The moon was up now, and the light was better. Kane bent above the body, which lay stark in its unmanageable mutilation, and he shuddered, a rare thing for him, who had seen the deeds of the Spanish Inquisition and the witch-finders. Kind of gruesome for the 1930s. But essentially in the story, there are weird happenings going about. People are dying to this weird monster. But Solomon Kane is on the case. There's not really too much spoilers to be had. It's more the experience of anything else. But ultimately, they learn that Ezra, who's this old man, hermit that lives near the swamps, he killed his brother way back and is actually a spirit of his brother that's killing any man that comes into contact because he won't rest until he gets peace. And, well, Solomon Kane may be very, very more than pleased to provide that monster its just revenge. And then we move on to The Right Hand of Doom. I have nothing to add except that Evil Dead 2 and Addams Family had to have had some influence by this comic, or this short story, because it's basically just about a severed hand. Like, literally, Kane goes to sleep at this, like, inn or something. And, essentially, sorry if you heard that, this hand comes up, chokes a guy to death. It's like a Halloween horror little short story, because Kane doesn't stop it. He doesn't go and avenge the guy. It's just this small story of Kane seeing his hand go and kill someone. He then pokes it with a sword to see if it's still going to do anything. It's not. It's dead. So it's like some sort of magic or witchcraft, and that's it. That's kind of like the whole thing. Some other stuff happens, but that's the gist. Hand kills a guy. That's it. Very mysterious, very spooky. And then we have the first, like, real short story with, like, 4 different parts, so just like a very little quick thing with Red Shadows, which is kind of our introduction to Kane, and what a phenomenal way to start. Kane comes across a woman on this, on his passage, and she's been beaten, she's been abused and tortured, and all the things you can think of that can happen. Malazan, it happened. She's dying. He's speaking to her. He asks questions, who did this? And he says, men will die this night. But you know what I love about this? Well, maybe a bit darker, because Solomon Kane kills people, whatever, right? And he's devoutly religious. But the difference is, or the thing that I thought was a really good parallel to Superman. If you remember the 2025 film, there's a part where there's a sandwich guy that would help Superman and feed him from time to time. But ultimately, nobody is stranger to Superman. And yet, when he passes away in that film, it's not like a huge deal. It's not like, it's fine. It's been some time. If you haven't seen it yet, that's on you. But, Superman is distraught. He's crying over this. This person that's not really his friend, doesn't really know this guy. In much the same way, Solomon Kane, it doesn't matter. Is this woman his lover, his mother, some friend of his? No, it's nobody. He doesn't know this person, but he doesn't need to. The act of what's been done to her is evil enough. It's tragic enough. I will avenge you because, gosh dang it, it's right to do so. And so he does. He goes John Wick on all of them. I also, unfortunately, have to recognize that this is of its time. This is the late 20s, early 30s. So we have some African Americans in this story, and they are... It's the 30s. It's racist. So if you can get past that, there's some good stuff here, but that is definitely a pill you have to swallow, unfortunately. And lastly, my last little note. Because you are a rogue, whom it is my destiny to kill, answered Kane coldly. He did not understand. All of his life, he had roamed about the world aiding the weak and fighting oppression. He neither knew nor questioned why. That was his obsession. His driving force of life, cruelty and tyranny to the weak, sent a red blaze of fury, fierce and lasting, through his soul. When the full flame of his hatred was wakened and loosed, there was no rest for him until his vengeance had been fulfilled to the uttermost. If he thought of it all, he considered himself a fulfiller of God's judgment, a vessel of wrath to be emptied upon the souls of the unrighteous. Yet in the full sense of the word, Solomon Kane was not wholly a Puritan, though he thought himself as such. Phenomenal story. Phenomenal. Besides the racism. It's a good story. But that's pretty much it, guys. Very short and sweet. But that's what pulps are. Short and sweet. So we'll come back to Solomon Kane, though, next year, for sure. So until then, guys, well, do what Solomon Kane would do and fight oppression and fight the unrighteous, all in the name of God. I just love how unapologetic he is about all that. It's so fun. It's so sad that he's not really been touched. It's gonna be 100 years old by 2028, which is really, really scary. But yeah, till next time.